Hey everyone, welcome back to the podcast. And hi Jenny, it is so good to be recording with you today.
Oh, hey, Jack. I am so happy to be here, too. Honestly, I have been thinking about today's topic all week long.
Really? Why is that? Did something happen?
Well, I was talking to a student last Tuesday, and she told me something that honestly broke my heart a little bit. She said, Jenny, I have big dreams. I want to start my own little business, but nobody around me believes it's possible.
Oh, I know that feeling so well. That hurts deeply when the people closest to you just sort of look at you and shake their heads.
Exactly. They say things like, are you sure? Or maybe you should be more realistic. And suddenly your big dream feels very lonely.
Which is why today we are talking about something so powerful. We are talking about how to build irritatingly strong confidence in your dreams when no one else around you does.
I love that title. Irritatingly strong confidence. Yes, we need that kind of stubborn belief where people look at you and think, why are they so sure of themselves?
Exactly. And guys, if you are listening while you're learning English, this episode is double useful for you because learning a language and chasing a dream require the exact same mental skill.
Oh, that is so true. When you're learning English, people tell you, oh, you will never sound like a native speaker, or why bother practicing so much? And you need that same deep inside power to keep going.
Today, we're going to explore some amazing target vocabulary that will help you talk about this. Words like unwavering faith, internal conviction, self-trust, certainty, and empowering.
Ooh, I love those words. They sound so strong and warm at the same time. So grab your coffee, put on your headphones, and let's have a real, honest conversation about believing in yourself, even when the room is totally quiet.
Jenny, let me ask you a question right now. Think back to when you first decided to do something completely different with your life. Did you have unwavering faith right from day one?
Are you kidding me? Absolutely not. Day one, I was shaking in my shoes, Jack. I thought, what am I even doing? I didn't have unwavering faith. I had a tiny little spark of hope and a whole lot of fear.
See, that is what I want everyone listening to know. We think confident people never feel scared. We think they just wake up one morning with complete certainty.
Right, like they got a special email from the universe telling them, hey, you're going to succeed. But that's not how it works at all.
No, unwavering faith is something you build brick by brick, usually in the dark, when nobody is clapping for you.
Oh, when nobody is clapping for you. Jack, that is poetry right there. Can we write that down? Because most of us spend our lives waiting for someone to clap, to say, good job, you can do it.
And what happens when nobody claps, Jenny? What do most people do?
They stop. They close the notebook. They turn off the computer. They go back to the safe, normal path because the silence is just too loud.
The silence is too loud. Wow, that's such a heavy truth. When you tell people your dream and they respond with silence, or worse, practical advice, it feels like cold water thrown on a fire.
Have you ever experienced that, Jack? Where you shared a big idea and the reaction was just dead silence?
Oh, absolutely. Years ago, before I started doing creative work, I told a close friend about a wild idea I had. And you know what they said?
What do they say?
They smiled that polite, pitying smile and said, that's nice, but maybe you should focus on getting a stable job with a pension.
Oof, the polite smile. That's the worst one. That hurts more than someone yelling at you.
Right? Because yelling you can fight against, but a polite smile feels like a gentle trap. It feels like they're patting you on the head like a child.
Exactly. And in that exact moment, you have a choice to make. You either let their low expectations become your reality, or you find something inside yourself, what we call internal conviction, to keep walking anyway.
Internal conviction. Let's talk about that phrase for a second. For our learners tuning in, conviction means a deep, unshakable belief in something. It's not just a thought, it's a feeling in your bones.
Yes, it's when your mind says, I might not know how I'm going to get there yet, and nobody else believes it, but I know deep down that this is meant for me.
That gives me chills, Jenny, truly, because when you have that kind of internal conviction, other people's opinions start to lose their volume. They go from being loud shouts to just background noise.
Background noise, like traffic outside your window. You hear it, but you don't let it ruin your day.
Exactly. But building that kind of armor, it takes practice. It doesn't happen overnight. And honestly, it requires a lot of self-trust.
Oh, self-trust is the hardest one. Because let's be honest with each other, Jack. Who is the person that doubts us the most? Is it our parents, our friends, our boss?
Usually, it's ourselves.
Exactly. We're our own worst critics. We break promises to ourselves all the time. We say, tomorrow I'm going to practice my English for an hour. And then tomorrow comes, we get tired, we watch TV instead, and then we tell ourselves, see, I knew you couldn't do it.
Ouch. Why do you have to expose us like that, Jenny? That hits way too close to home.
Because it's true for all of us. How can we expect to have unshakable belief in our dreams when we don't even trust ourselves to wake up and do what we said we would do?
That's a serious point. Self-trust isn't just about believing you will succeed. It's about knowing that even if you fail, you will still be there for yourself. You won't abandon yourself.
Yes, that's the secret. Most people are terrified of failing because they think if I fail, my family will judge me or my friends will say I told you so. But the real fear, the quiet fear, is that you will beat yourself up over it.
You will become your own bully. That's exhausting.
So when we talk about building confidence when no one else does, the very first person you have to convince is the person looking back at you in the mirror every morning.
So how do we do that, Jenny? Give our listeners a practical way. If someone is sitting in their room right now feeling completely unsupported, what is step one?
Step one, I think, is to stop talking about your dreams to the wrong people.
Whoa, say more about that. That sounds controversial. Are you saying we should keep secrets?
Not secrets, just boundaries. Look, not everyone deserves to hear the fragile, early version of your dream. If you plant a tiny seed in the ground, do you dig it up every 5 minutes to see if it's growing?
Of course not. If you do that, the roots will dry out and the seed will die.
Exactly. Dreams are fragile when they're new. If you share your big, crazy dream with someone who's practical, scared, or unimaginative, they'll crush it, not always because they're mean, but because they're projecting their own fears onto you.
That's such a wise perspective. They're projecting their own fears onto you. Our learners, write that down in your vocabulary journal. Projection. When someone tells you you can't do that, they usually mean, I'm too scared to do that, so please don't make me look bad by trying.
Boom, spot on. They want you to stay small because your growth makes them uncomfortable with their own stillness.
Haha, wow. This conversation went deep very fast. I love it. Let's take a little breath here. For everyone listening who's walking outside right now or washing dishes or sitting on a bus studying English, just remember you are in good company.
We all feel this way. Absolutely. You're not crazy for having big dreams, even if your family thinks you've lost your mind. My mom still asks me when I'm going to get a real job, and I've been doing this for years.
No way. After all your success, she still asks that.
Yes, because to her generation, a real job means an office, a desk, a boss, and a monthly salary slip. Creator life looks like magic or madness to them.
Ah, that makes complete sense. Different generations have different definitions of safety. For our parents, safety was a steady job. For us, safety is adaptability and trusting our skills.
Which brings us right back to certainty. People always ask, how can I feel certain about the future when everything is changing so fast?
And what is your answer to that, Jenny?
You don't find certainty out there in the world. You create certainty inside your own mind. Certainty is not a prediction of the future. It's a commitment to the present action.
Oh, I love that so much. Let me repeat that for everyone. Certainty is not a prediction of the future. It is a commitment to the present action. That is pure gold.
Thank you, thank you. I try to sound smart once in a while.
You succeed more than once, trust me. But think about how that applies to learning English, too. When you're studying, you can't be 100% certain that you will become fluent by next Tuesday. That's impossible.
Right. If you wait for certainty before you start speaking, you'll be waiting forever. You have to speak with uncertainty and build certainty through the action itself.
You know, it reminds me of walking in the fog. Have you ever driven or walked when it's super foggy? You can only see about 5 feet in front of you.
Oh, I hate driving in the fog. It makes my hands grip the steering wheel so tight my knuckles turn white.
Exactly. But does the fog stay 5 feet in front of you forever? As you move forward, the next 5 feet appear, and then the next 5 feet.
Wow, that's such a powerful metaphor for chasing a dream or learning a language. You don't need to see the whole staircase. You just need to take the first step in the mist.
Yes, and that is where empowering yourself comes in. Let's talk about that word, empowering. People use it all the time, but what does it actually mean in real life?
To me, empowering means taking your power back from the people who told you that you couldn't do it. For a long time, we give other people the remote control to our emotions.
The remote control. That is such a funny way to put it. Like they're sitting on the couch changing channels in your brain.
They are. Someone says one negative comment, and suddenly your whole mood changes from happy and hopeful to depressed and doubtful. You handed them the remote control.
So empowering yourself means walking over, taking the remote back, turning off the TV, and deciding what story you want to play.
Yes, exactly that. Nobody can make you feel small without your permission. Eleanor Roosevelt said that, right? And it is so true.
It is deeply true. When no one else believes in your dream, you have to become your own loudest cheerleader. And I know that sounds cheesy. People hear, be your own cheerleader, and they roll their eyes.
I know. It sounds like something printed on a colorful poster in a dentist office.
Right. Next to a picture of a kitten hanging from a tree branch saying, hang in there.
Exactly. Hang in there, kitty. But cheesy or not, when you are sitting alone at 11 p.m. working on your project or struggling to pronounce difficult English words, who else is going to root for you?
Nobody. At the end of the day, you are the driver of this vehicle. Everyone else is just a passenger in the back seat. Some passengers are sleeping. Some are complaining that we're taking the wrong turn, and some are telling us to slow down.
But it's your car. You hold the steering wheel. If you want to drive off the main road and try something new, you have that right.
Let's talk about the people who do love us, though. This is important because sometimes it's not mean enemies who doubt our dreams. Sometimes it's our parents or our partner or our best friend, people who genuinely love us. How do we handle their doubt without getting angry?
Oh, that is such a mature question, Jack. Because when a stranger doubts you, it's easy to dismiss them. But when your mom or your husband looks at you with worry in their eyes, that cuts deep.
Exactly. Because you know they aren't trying to crush you. They're trying to protect you. Protection feels like doubt.
That is so profound. Protection feels like doubt. Wow. Yes, they are scared because they love you and they don't want to see you get hurt or fail or look foolish.
So how do we deal with that? How do we have unwavering faith in our dreams while still loving and respecting the people who are afraid for us?
I think you have to grant them grace. You don't need them to understand your vision. A vision is yours, not theirs. God gave the dream to you, not to your mother, not to your best friend. So you cannot expect them to see what only you can see.
Oh, that is so liberating. Say that again for the people in the back. You cannot expect them to see what only you can see.
It's true. If someone is blindfolded, you don't get angry at them for not seeing the beautiful sunset you're looking at. You just smile, enjoy the view, and know that your perspective is your own gift.
That is such a peaceful way to look at it. It stops the fighting. Instead of arguing with your family and trying to prove your point with words, you just quietly prove it with your actions over time.
Actions speak louder than 1,000 arguments. You don't need to win the debate at the dinner table. You just need to keep showing up for your dream every single day, even if it's just for 15 minutes.
You know, bringing this back to our English learners, this happens all the time with language learning too. Someone starts learning English as an adult, and people around them laugh or say, "Why are you bothering? You're too old," or "You'll never be fluent."
Hearing "you're too old to learn a language" makes my blood boil. That is such a myth.
Right? total myth. But people say it because they're projecting their own limits. And if you don't have internal conviction, you listen to that voice, you close your textbook, and you give up.
Which is why building this unshakable belief habit is the most practical thing you can do for your English and for your life. It's not just about business or big goals. It's about trusting your ability to grow.
Jenny, let's do a quick check-in. How do you personally feed your belief when you're feeling low? Because we all have days where we feel like giving up, right?
Oh, absolutely. I'm human. I have plenty of days where I want to pull the blankets over my head and pretend the world doesn't exist.
Me too. So what do you do on those days?
On those days, I lower the bar. I don't try to move mountains. I just tell myself, today, just do one tiny thing. If I'm learning something new, I just read one page. If I'm working on a script, I just write one sentence. Just keep the pulse beating.
I love that. Keep the pulse beating. That is so gentle and so effective. You don't need a heroic effort every single day. You just need stubborn consistency.
Stubborn consistency, that is another great phrase. Consistency is way more important than intensity. People burn themselves out trying to work 12 hours a day for a week, and then they quit.
So true. You know, it makes me think about how we talk to ourselves on those tough days. We can either be our own worst enemy or our own best coach.
Oh, the inner voice is so powerful. Have you ever caught yourself saying things to yourself that you would never, ever say to a friend?
All the time. If I spoke to my best friend the way I sometimes speak to myself inside my head, they would never talk to me again.
Right? We are so hard on ourselves. We make one small mistake in our English pronunciation, or our project doesn't go as planned, and instantly we think, I'm a failure at this.
Exactly. And that is why self-trust is so fragile, because we let that harsh inner voice take over the steering wheel.
So how do we change that voice, Jack? How do we quiet that inner critic when it gets too loud?
Well, I think it starts with awareness. You have to catch yourself in the middle of it. You notice the thought, and instead of believing it, you just look at it and say, there's that fear talking again.
Yes, separate yourself from the thought. The thought is not you. The thought is just a visitor passing through your mind.
That is such a brilliant way to look at it. You are the house, not the weather passing by. The storm will come, the wind will blow, but the house is still standing.
I love that image so much. You are the house, not the weather. Let's remind our listeners of that whenever they feel overwhelmed.
Absolutely. And you know, speaking of building this unshakable belief, let's talk about a very practical tool we can use every single day.
Ooh, I love practical tools. What is it?
It is what I call the tiny evidence journal. When nobody else believes in your dream, you have to collect your own evidence that you are growing.
Oh, explain that. How does a tiny evidence journal work?
It is super simple. Every night before you go to sleep, you write down 3 tiny things you did that moved you forward. It could be as small as, I practiced English for 10 minutes, or I didn't let someone's negative comment ruin my afternoon.
I love that so much because our brains naturally focus on what went wrong, right? We forget all the little wins.
Exactly. Our brains are hardwired to look for danger and failure. That's how humans survived in the old days. But today, that negativity bias just keeps us stuck in bed.
So writing down those tiny wins, it trains your brain to see your own progress. It builds that internal conviction brick by brick.
Exactly. And after a month of doing that, you look back at the notebook and you have 30 pages of proof that you're showing up for yourself.
Nobody can argue with written proof. Even if the whole world is silent, your notebook is shouting, look how far you've come.
That is so empowering, Jenny. You are literally empowering yourself by changing what you focus on.
You know, it reminds me of how we learn a language, too. When you start learning English, you feel like you're not making any progress at all. You feel stuck for weeks.
Oh, the dreaded plateau. Every language learner knows that feeling intimately. You study every day, but you feel like your brain is made of concrete.
Exactly. And if you don't have that unshakable faith in your own ability to learn, you assume, I must not have a language brain.
Which is a total myth, of course. Everyone learned their first language as a child without even realizing it. You do have a language brain. You just need patience and consistency.
Patience and consistency. Those two words solve almost every problem in life and in learning, but they're so hard to practice when we live in a world of instant noodles and one-click delivery.
Instant everything. We want our English fluency delivered in 3 business days with free shipping.
Yes, Amazon, please deliver one C2 level English fluency to my front door by tomorrow morning.
If only, right? But the truth is, the things that are truly valuable in life, the things that really change who you are, take time to grow.
Just like a tree, you don't pull on a plant to make it grow faster. You just water it, give it some sunlight, and get out of the way.
That is such a peaceful perspective, Jenny. Let's give our listeners a little challenge for this week. What is one thing they can do right now, today, to strengthen their belief in themselves?
I think the challenge should be this. Pick one dream or one big goal you have been keeping secret or feeling shy about, and write it down on a piece of paper. Fold it up and put it in your pocket.
Oh, I love that. Why put it in your pocket?
Because it reminds you that it's yours. You don't have to announce it to the whole world yet. You don't need anyone else's permission or applause. It lives with you, safe and warm, until you're ready to take the next step.
That is so beautiful. A secret promise to yourself. I believe in you, even if nobody else does right now.
Exactly. And with that beautiful thought, let's take a quick breath and get ready for our favorite part of the episode.
Yes, the vocabulary review and deep dive. I know our learners wait all week for this.
Let's dive right in, Jack.
All right, my friends, let's talk about the words we use today. Words that will help you describe this journey of inner strength and belief. Are you ready, Jenny?
Oh, I am always ready for vocabulary time. These are some of my favorite words we've ever talked about.
Me too. Let's start with our first big phrase, unwavering faith. Now, wavering means shaking or moving back and forth, like a candle flame in the wind. So when something is unwavering, it means it does not shake at all.
Exactly. Unwavering faith is belief that stays steady and strong, no matter how hard the wind blows, and no matter what anyone else says to you.
Here is an example sentence for our listeners. She had unwavering faith in her dream of writing a book, even when her friends told her it was impossible. Listen to that rhythm. Unwavering faith. It just sounds powerful when you say it out loud.
It really does. And that leads right into our second target phrase, internal conviction. Conviction is a strong belief or opinion, so when it is internal, it comes from inside your own heart, not from outside praise.
Right. You don't need anyone to hand it to you. Here's how you can use it. His internal conviction kept him going through months of hard work when nobody was watching. Notice how natural that sounds. Internal conviction.
I love that one so much. Moving on to our third word, self-trust. This is one of my absolute favorites, Jack. It means believing in your own decisions and knowing you will take care of yourself, win or lose.
Such an important distinction. Here's an example. Building self-trust takes time, but every time you keep a small promise to yourself, it gets a little bit stronger. So true, right? Every little promise counts.
Absolutely. Every tiny step matters. Next up is our fourth word, certainty. Now, certainty is the state of being completely sure about something. But as we talked about earlier today, it's not about predicting the future. It's about your commitment right now.
Beautifully said, Jenny. Here's an example sentence. She didn't know how she would succeed, but she had the certainty that she was on the right path. That gives me chills every time I hear it.
Me too. And that brings us to our fifth and final wonderful word today, empowering. To empower someone means to give them power, confidence, or control over their own life.
Exactly. Taking back the remote control of your emotions. Here's our final example. Realizing that you are the author of your own story is deeply empowering. Let's review those 5 words one more time for our learners. Unwavering faith, internal conviction, self-trust, certainty, and empowering.
5 incredible tools for your English vocabulary and for your life journey. Practice using them this week. Write them in your journals, and remember them when things get tough.
As we wrap up today's episode, we want to leave you with one final thought. If you're sitting in the quiet room of your life right now and nobody is clapping for you, please remember that the greatest achievements always start in the quiet moments.
You don't need permission to have a big dream. You don't need a crowd of people cheering you on to take your first step. You just need to look in the mirror, take a deep breath, and trust the person looking back at you.
Thank you so much for spending this time with us today, English learners. You are doing amazing. Your English is growing every single day, and your dreams are entirely worth fighting for.
We love hanging out with you. Keep listening, keep growing, and we will talk to you very soon in the next episode. Bye-bye.
Take care, everyone. See you next time.